Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. If you're a dental professional here in the UK and you've been dreaming about stepping out on your own, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're diving into the thrilling and, let's be honest, highly regulated leap into independent practice ownership. Now, to actually succeed at this, you've got to master what I like to call the dual hat framework. You see, opening your own clinic isn't just about providing top-notch patient care anymore. It's about seamlessly managing two totally distinct, uncompromisable roles. You've got to be the savvy business owner and the perfectly compliant clinical professional. It is a really delicate balancing act, but mastering it, that's the real secret to building a thriving, legally sound independent practice. So here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the independent dental professional. Second, choosing your business structure. Third, understanding clinical scope. Fourth, training and competence. And finally, teamwork and direct access.
All right, part one, the independent dental professional.
Let's really set the stage for this big leap into practice ownership. I want you to imagine it for a second. You are stepping fully into direct access. You literally hold the keys to the clinic. You're the one making the final calls on patient care, and you don't have to rely on a dentist referral for every single appointment anymore. I mean, it's an incredibly thrilling level of autonomy. But with all that autonomy comes a massive dual responsibility. You are now the primary clinical decision maker, absolutely, but you're also the person answering to HM Revenue and Customs. You're wearing both of these hats at the exact same time, and frankly, both have the power to completely make or break your career. The General Dental Council actually puts it really clearly. They say, direct access allows some dental care professionals to see patients without a referral from a dentist, where it is safe and appropriate to do so. Now, I want to zero in on that last part, where it is safe and appropriate. Because yeah, the freedom of direct access is amazing, but it brings this absolute non-negotiable necessity to really recognize your professional limits. Patient safety has to be the anchor for every single decision you make as an independent practitioner, no exceptions.
Moving right along to part two, choosing your business structure.
Okay, let's firmly put on that first hat, the business hat. Because before you even think about treating a patient, you have to establish how you exist in the eyes of the law under gov.uk rules. Basically, you've got two main roads you can travel when registering your business. On one side, we have the sole trader. This is by far the simplest structure to set up, but you really need to look closely at that catch, unlimited liability. This means you, personally, are on the hook for all of the business's debts. If the business fails, your personal assets, like literally your own bank accounts, are on the line. Now, on the other side, we have the private limited company. This entity is legally completely separate from the people who own it, which gives you limited liability. So if things go wrong, you're generally only responsible up to the value of your initial financial investment. It's a huge contrast in personal financial risk, and it's a choice you have to weigh super carefully. And it's not just about liability. Your entire world of taxes and bureaucratic responsibilities shifts depending on which entity you choose. If you go the sole trader route, sure, you keep all the profits after tax, but you have to meticulously track every bit of profit and loss for your personal self-assessment tax return. On the flip side, if you choose a private limited company, the company itself pays corporation tax on its profits. And taking money out of the business to actually pay yourself, that involves entirely different, much stricter rules. Honestly, even just naming your business comes with totally different regulations depending on the structure.
Now, if you decide that the legal shield of a private limited company is the right move for your practice, gov.uk has a very specific workflow for you. Step 1, choose a compliant company name. Step 2, appoint at least one director, that's the person officially responsible for running things, and at least one shareholder. Step 3, prepare your essential documents that dictate how you'll run your company. These are your memorandum and articles of association. And finally, step 4, register your official address and details with Companies House. I know, sounds like a lot of heavy bureaucratic jargon, but if you just take it step by step, setting up that protective business shell is actually entirely manageable.
All right, let's jump to part 3, understanding clinical scope. So we've firmly established our business entity. Let's switch hats. We are leaving behind government tax law, and we're stepping squarely into your professional and ethical obligations. The absolute ultimate rulebook for your frontline clinical decision-making is the General Dental Council's Guidance on Scope of Practice, which, by the way, comes into full effect in November 2025. You guys, this document is your clinical Bible. Every single action you take, every treatment you plan, it's all governed by the principles laid out right here in these pages.
Let's actually define this crucial terminology exactly as the GDC does. Your scope of practice is the activities you carry out as part of your professional role, which you have the knowledge, skills, and abilities to perform safely and effectively. I literally cannot stress this enough. Just because you hold the keys to the business, and just because your name is plastered on the limited company registry, that does absolutely not mean you can perform any procedure that walks through your door. Your business ownership grants you administrative freedom, sure, but your GDC registration, that strictly dictates your clinical boundaries.
Which leads us perfectly into part 4, training and competence. The GDC sets out these incredibly strict prerequisites that you have to meet before you ever treat a patient under direct access. Before any clinical task, any treatment plan, or any prescription, you have to stop and ask yourself 3 vital questions. 1. Am I trained to carry out this task? 2. Am I competent to perform it safely? And 3. Am I appropriately indemnified or insured for it? The bottom line here is that you must definitively answer yes to all 3 of these requirements. If there is a no, or honestly even a maybe to any of these, you have to stop. You must refer that patient to a qualified colleague. There are simply no exceptions to this rule. Let's unpack that word competent for a second. The GDC defines it as the combination of training, skills, experience, and knowledge applied safely, consistently, and in accordance with accepted professional standards. I love this definition because it brilliantly illustrates that competence isn't just taking a weekend CPD course and, hanging a shiny certificate on your wall. True competence requires ongoing experience. It means actively seeking and acting on peer feedback, recognizing when your skills might be a little rusty, and strictly adhering to those GDC standards every single day of your career. And finally, part 5, teamwork and direct access. Look, you might be launching an independent practice, but independent definitely does not mean isolated. You are still a vital piece of a much wider dental ecosystem. Let's look at some specific boundaries to show how this actually plays out. Say you're a dental hygienist. Your scope includes providing exceptional oral health education, managing periodontal disease, and employing preventative things like fissure sealants. But the boundaries are explicit. You cannot carry out indirect restorations, you cannot perform orthodontics, and you absolutely cannot extract teeth. If a patient sits in your chair and they clearly need a filling or an extraction, you've got to have a network in place to refer them out. Your independent business completely relies on collaborative clinical teamwork. Let's look at another really good example. Clinical dental technicians, or CDTs. Under direct access, CDTs can plan, design, and provide removable appliances directly to edentulous patients, so patients without natural teeth. However, if a patient is dentate, meaning they have some natural teeth or implants left, the CDT cannot provide an appliance without a direct referral from a dentist, confirming that the patient is dentally suitable for the treatment. So again, we see that even the most thriving independent practitioner absolutely relies on teamwork, cross-referrals, and deeply understanding the precise limitations of their specific title. Wow, okay, we've covered a lot of ground today, right? We've bridged the gap between unlimited liability and strict clinical scope of practice. Opening an independent dental clinic is an incredibly rewarding journey, but it demands absolute diligence. You have to be just as meticulous with your tax structure and your company's house filings as you are with your clinical diagnoses and patient referrals. So I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. Take a hard look at your business plan and look at your clinical training. Are you truly full prepared to wear both the business and clinical hats simultaneously without letting either one slip? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and best of luck on your journey to independent practice.